My name is Anna and I am a singer.
Hi, my name is Peyton and I'm a dancer.
And today, what are we doing today?
Today, we are back with more requested reactions, this time to a group that we have never reacted to before. OnlyOneOf?
So yes, we were requested to react to OnlyOneOf and we don't know anything about them. So we did some research, took a look at their profile. They are a 7-member boy group that debuted in 2019 and they are from 8D Creative. Based on their profiles, they're actually a little on the older side for having debuted in 2019, and one of them has already finished his military service, which is like, wow. Very interesting.
Yeah.
But anyways, the 2 videos we're reacting to today are Savanna and then Sage, Kuwan. And we know that Savanna is their debut, and it also came out with another song called Time Leap, but Savanna and Sage were the ones that are requested, so we're gonna do these 2.
Let's go!
There's no sound yet, right?
I don't hear anything. Okay.
Okay.
I was like, nothing's happening.
Well,
It's like a...
I feel like I need to have 3D glasses on or something because of the effects.
It's very angsty.
Oh, are you telling me something right now without actually
That's all I'm
telling
gonna
me?
say. It's very angsty.
Okay.
Savannah, like Savannah, Georgia?
Huh?
That's what I was thinking when I heard Savannah, like beach from Savannah.
I had been thinking like the,
Like the desert.
yeah. Did they use a black box camera for those shots? Or is it a CCTV? You know which ones I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh. But yeah, I had been thinking more of the desert, also because of like the little flame, and it's all like dusty air.
Well, that's the line that's making me think like not the desert. Unless it's like an oasis, and also this looks very like southern.
Our southern expert. Oh, that's nice. This is much more restrained. Is that the word I'm looking for?
I know what you're talking about.
Not saying that they're old, but does it have something
It's
to
little
do with it?
it's like kind of chill. Yeah.
세련됐어, 세련됐어.
I have one kind of like main comment about their dancing, and it's just that it looks so easy. And not in like a what they're doing is easy, but in that they're making it look like what they're doing is easy. And that's actually really hard because the clips of the dance in the music video and then when I watch the dance practice, it doesn't appear like they're working very hard. If they really weren't working hard and they weren't putting in the energy and the effort into it, then it would get really sloppy. In order to look that effortless, they're actually having to put in more effort than just like normally performing a dance routine, because you're having to control any like extra breathing, any extra movement, any tenseness in your body. You have to actively be thinking to like release while you're doing it. And you can tell, especially when you watch the dance practice, that this is so ingrained into their body that it's basically like muscle memory at this point, and it has to be at that level in order to pull off this level of like calm, relaxed, chill. And honestly, it was kind of relaxing to watch. I was very much like just pleasantly like following along. And then the other thing is, it feels like they're floating when they're dancing. And you can see that a couple of times in the music video, especially when they do turns or like the jump at the beginning of the final chorus after the bridge. And it's not floated movements that I've talked about before. It feels like they're not touching the ground. It's very interesting. Like that jump, for instance, I was watching it and they jump and then they land and then they go into a turn. Normally you would expect there to be some sort of evidence of like impact, like when you hit the ground, like even if it's just a second before you go into the turn, but it's so seamless that it feels like they never actually touched the ground. I was like, are they floating? Like what is going on? So it was really, really interesting to watch. There is a disconnect though between how chill the dance is and like the angst and fire of the music video. And so I was kind of just like, what? About the music video though, I was gonna say, when I was going back and rewatching it, all of the different camera shots are so interesting because you had mentioned like, oh, did they use like CCTV for that? But then when I was watching it, there's also like car, like rear view mirror camera sort of thing that they're using. And like all of just so many different, like so many different sorts of cameras. And I don't know if it's effects or if it's actually the cameras, but I think it'd be really cool if they were actually using like, you know, the rear view mirror of a car and like CCTV and stuff. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Like it was very easy like to listen to and to watch and to just like kind of sit and relax and enjoy. So Anna's turn.
This song, this music video, this whole vibe is just what I would expect to see from like more R&B indie artists. Like at the end of the video, I was starting to say like 세련된 느낌. It's like a little classier, refined, more mature. Because Peyton and I always say like, oh, in K-pop there's a certain thing that you expect from debuts, and it's always like the rookie energy. Like it can be like cute or very like powerful, like I'm here, look at all this energy that I have. But this was not that at all. This was so laid back, and not like that they don't have energy, but not like the rookie energy that we usually talk about either. And I don't want to say it's because like they're older, but I feel like they're only able to pull this off because they are on the older side. But talking about the song a little bit, it's very dreamy. It feels like I'm in like a different world, like an escape from reality. But like every single layer, instrumentally at least, has echo or reverb effect on it. Echo reverb effects always are like otherworld, in your head in the clouds, dreamy. Another thing instrumentally that adds the whole overall vibe and aesthetic of the song is like the snaps are being used throughout the entire time, so it's already like that classier sort of feeling. And it is like pretty sparse. The instrumental is like very sparse. It doesn't have any like thing that's super ear-catching about it. When I say that, I mean like in a lot of other K-pop songs, you'll hear like drastic genre changes or like a random high note not random, but like a really noticeable high note moment right here, or like really intense beats and percussion, and that doesn't happen in the song because it's really just like all about like the vibe and the aesthetic and just like feeling and like swaying along. So like even during the chorus, that's when like the most percussion is heard, and even then it's just the bass, that more melodic bass, is playing more frequently, and they add extra percussion lines, but even then the extra percussion that they add, it sounds kind of like a shaker, so it's like very delicate, more like gentler, not as like harsh. And I find that really interesting as a debut because it doesn't have all those moments that I was talking about. It really requires the people singing and performing it to carry it. And that's why usually songs like this, you won't see it as a title track for a K-pop group until like a few years into their career. So I just thought it was really interesting. Because vocally also, they aren't like singing aggressively at any point. But like how Peyton said for their dancing, like when you dance like it looks easy for them, like singing is like that too. I've talked about this in one of our other videos where like singing at what seems to be a lower level lower energy level actually requires a lot more energy because like you don't want it to sound messy or like get pitchy, so you still have to have like that same intensity level but like at a lower dynamic level, so that can be difficult. But that's literally what this song is at the entire time vocally. I really like it. Yeah, this is a song I would listen to.
This is like the overlap of our
between our two music styles
that we listen to.
Wow. So
okay.
Next song that we'll be reacting to is their first comeback called Sage Kuon.
Go.
Let's go. It's silent again.
Is it just the intro video? It
Maybe
kind of makes me like...
It really is throwing me off when it does that though.
It's gonna be angsty.
This is so different. This feels like...
Wait,
at least the setting
the
so far. It's opposite.
I'm sorry.
Like techno.
Do you see the statue? Okay. I think... Okay.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
What happened in the few months from debut? What? I'm so confused.
In that short dance clip though, it's very short, but it still seems very like floaty.
What is that instrument?
Floor work. Okay, it's talking about sin, so that statue at the beginning, yeah.
I was like, I'm not going crazy with like the symbolism
right?
and everything,
okay.
right?
But it's kind of like dystopian. I can't get you off my mind. That's what the car said.
What the?
What is happening?
I need to go back and listen to this later, because something about the mixing in this song is throwing me off. Wow.
I'm so thrown off.
I don't think I ever stopped being shook by the chain.
Honestly, I'm still kind of shook. And I've watched the music video again and the dance practice, and I'm still kind of shook at the difference between Savannah and Sage. Like, it really didn't even feel like the same group. But in some ways it did feel like the same group, at least in like dance style, because this choreography is a lot different. There are more percussive elements to it, but at the same time, their dance style is very similar to the first one. And what I mean by that is it still has that floating feeling, even when they're doing more like hard-hitting movements. And so you never get that sort of like heaviness to their dancing. It always feels very light. And that actually provides a really interesting contrast, because they'll be doing something that moves their upper body, like on the horizontal plane, and then they'll be doing super sharp hand movements that contrast with that or something. So I thought that was really interesting. But other than the fact their dancing felt the same, I was like, are we sure this is the same group of people? Interesting things in the choreography. The symbolism from the music video and that they're talking about in the song carried over into the choreography. So the first one is there's moments where they're doing poses and the person in the center will be like emulating a cross sort of feeling, or kneeling with the hands kind of crossed and behind the head, like you've been shackled by something, and oftentimes you're like shackled by sin. That's the terminology. And then the most obvious, prayer hands. They use the prayer hands all the time. But one that I thought was a little bit less obvious that jumped out to me, and it was actually probably my favorite moment in the choreography when it happened, I think it happened like twice, maybe 3 times, is this change from clasped hands to like this sort of prayer hands. And I don't know, maybe this is just like a my church thing, but like when you see little kids praying, you always see them like this, right? Like I'm making a wish or I'm praying. And it was at the point in the song, and I don't remember the exact lyrics, but they're basically asking like, please, like, will you like relieve me of the sin or something? And they go like clasped and then here. And I don't know, it was just really impactful when I was watching it because it felt like they were grabbing onto someone and then asking for something. And it was very much like, oh, that's really cool. Like that little moment read very well to me. On the same train of thought with symbolism, music video wise, I'm sure that there is a storyline that is going completely over my head. All I can say for certain is that there's so much symbolism in the music video, and I probably got like 6% of them. It made this like really cool dystopian storyline, so like really nice use of it. I just was sitting there like, I don't know what's happening, and very shook by the change. But yeah, overall thoughts, very shook by the change, but very nice elements in the choreography, and like I enjoyed the song. So Anna's turn.
So first, sorry I was so silent while watching that. I think one, I was just shook the whole time by the very drastic change. But also another thing was like, there was one thing that was kind of bothering me throughout the whole song. It just feels like somewhere in production and editing, the mixing / levels for the voice, I just wanted them to be louder, especially as the song was going on, because like the intensity of the song is increasing, and it felt like the levels that the vocals were placed at in comparison to the instruments was not reflecting that. Instrumentally, the song is really interesting. Like, there are a lot of little changes that keep it from feeling repetitive, just like how they use that little flute line as an ornament. Especially in the beginning, it feels more like an ornament, but then as the song goes on, it becomes more of like a present line and motif. It's a synth that kind of sounds like a wooden flute, so it feels more like traditional, when the music video is very much like sort of dystopian, more like futuristic. And like other little things that they change is like how first chorus versus second chorus, like for one thing, they completely just don't have a pre-chorus the second time around. They just go straight into the chorus. So that's really interesting. And because of that, actually when the second chorus starts, they are counting the beat in halftime. Because usually like a pre-chorus build up into the chorus, it would do that like halftime thing and then like to build up, but that build up has to but in the second time, like that build up sort of has to happen in the chorus. But the bass that's playing it, it's much more prominent than it was before. And because of that, I was like, oh, I feel like the vocals should be reflecting that. And like another thing that made me feel like kind of, oh, why aren't they focusing on their voices more, is because they have some more interesting harmonies that are happening, especially during the chorus. But then the last sort of thing that I had to say was like another little instrumental detail, is how the synth strings at the end I thought were also a nice touch, because it feels sort of like it's easing you out of the song instead of just like an abrupt intense ending, because also like the bass isn't really playing at that point anymore, and the bass has been such a focal point throughout this whole song, and like the intensity level by it, instead of ending here, the bass cutting out and the synth strings playing instead lets you end like here. But overall, I like it. Like the structure of the song is interesting. There's a lot of little details that are really interesting about it too. It's just the mixing thing for me. It's just the mixing thing for me.
TLDR is, it was our first time reacting to OnlyOneOf, and I think it's safe to say that we are very intrigued.
What did you prefer?
Savannah.
Same.
But I'm also just in the mood for that sort of listening today.
Same.
I
I like
just
Savannah.
chill.
So that being said, if you enjoyed this reaction and also are very intrigued by OnlyOneOf and the range of styles that they have just shown us in these 2 songs, then please leave a like, comment, subscribe,
Ding!
turn on your notification bell.
Ba-da-da-da-da.